Hey, we are back here at the Nashville Entrepreneur Center. This one is not live, however, but I am sitting with Shawn Yeager at Porch Group. Shawn, tell the people here at the Nashville Entrepreneur Center and Knoxville Entrepreneur Center as part of KaraoQ Summit a little bit about yourself and about your company, Porch Group.
Sure. Thanks, Michael. So my background is a range of music, technology, business development, startups to Microsoft and Accenture, so big to small. And just under 3 years ago, my partners and I founded Porch Group here in Nashville. We are venture builders and advisors in entertainment. And so what we do is we build and help others build companies and products that advance the entertainment industry, primarily those that are technology driven.
Excellent. Speaking of that, you talked about the technology driven, especially if it's music and entertainment like it is here in Nashville, which is really prominent. Talk a little bit about how you got involved with Project Music, and then more specifically how you got involved with the high volume team in our product, KaraoQ.
Sure. So I have been a mentor since my time back in Nashville, almost 3.5 years is when I moved back from most recently Toronto and got immediately involved in Jumpstart Foundry, which is the first accelerator here in Nashville. It's now transitioned to healthcare, but was general technology at that time, and got involved with them, was a mentor for 3 years. And then certainly through my involvement with the Entrepreneur Center and of course my company's focus on music and entertainment, was extremely excited and bullish about Project Music. So my partners and I got involved immediately, and we're 3 of the so-called core mentors for the program.
And what does that mentor relationship look like when you're coming into Project Music and you're on our board of advisors and you mentored us as well as Porch Group, kind of advising the company. Talk a little bit about what that role means, what's involved with that from your perspective.
So I have, previous to the Entrepreneur Center, served as volunteer as a mentor at a couple of the programs in Chicago and Toronto. What I think is particularly powerful at the EC here is the care they give to coaching and educating mentors on how to be good mentors, and differentiating, to answer your question, between being a coach, a consultant, a mentor, and advisor, being clear. And I think, for me, being a mentor is about asking good questions, being available, making connections, making available resources. And so it isn't to give someone the answer that I presume to be correct, but it's simply to present questions, hopefully to get them thinking about how to solve a problem themselves. It just so happened in the course of MediaWorks this year, one of the teams is Sing and Spell, which is founded and led by Kathy Vangieri, who is the wife of Joe Vangieri, who leads Digitrax. And so in the conversations you and I have had about content licensing, how to assure that it's a complete solution, and Digitrax having a tremendous library of karaoke songs that are fully licensed, it was just an obvious thing to get you guys together, and we're delighted that the conversation turned into a partnership. Well, I think one of the things that initially got me excited about what you guys are building with KaraoQ is that the value propositions for venue, for patron, and for DJ KJ are all strong. There's no exploitative tactics in the product or in the business model. Everybody wins, and so as the patron and the performer enjoy more what they're doing, perform, get engaged, really have a great night, the venue wins, the KJ wins. Your revenue model, of course, is KaraoQ, is that everybody participates in the increase in revenue. It is not a zero-sum game. So in short, I think it is, change is always hard, particularly in this industry that we work in. And I think karaoke, as you obviously with the vision of the company have set out, has been ripe to, if not disrupt, then certainly evolve. Sure. And so that evolution, there will be people, I'm sure, that are dragged kicking and screaming, but I think progressive venues, progressive KJs, certainly the patrons, it's nothing but upside.
So just briefly talk through, since Project Music, how Porch has worked specifically with us in order to help shore up that business model, and also to really ensure that the company itself and the product is aimed at creating that win-win-win value prop as you talked about.
Sure. So, we have an engagement, a program that we work with startups under. We call it Startup Sprint. So these are 90-day projects, if you will. whereby we look at customers, users, product, and capital, be that revenue or fundraising. And we look at those 4 categories and we define milestones for the end of that 90-day period. Where does the team and the company and the product need to be? What are the ways in which we can measure progress towards those milestones? And ultimately, how do we help with the operation and the accountability to get there? And so, as we have with you and your founders, worked a lot on priority setting. You've got a tremendous vision, a great deal of opportunity, but often the challenge is, all right, where do we focus?
Sure.
Where do we actually double down
Yep.
and make sure that the traction is real, that customers are happy, users are, adopting, and ultimately that we're moving toward revenue. And so, it is a process of setting milestones, putting metrics in place, developing tools, be they to track or to operationalize, modeling the pipeline, understanding as we have developed the lead to live time from the point that a venue or a KJ enters or engages with KaraoQ to the point that they're operating their first night of karaoke. So it's developing those sorts of metrics and measures that really help us stay focused and ultimately we hope advance you, the team, and your go-to-market.
What would you say are maybe the core key values and takeaways of the KaraoQ 360 product kind of as a whole, and whether it's that they're on the fence or they're completely resistant or they're very receptive? What are the just maybe the couple of key points that you see that are going to be drivers and factors of change for the karaoke industry with what we're doing today?
Sure. Well, I think, pardon me as I wrestle with these allergies, I think it's plainly obvious to anyone that pays attention that mobile is dominant, particularly among millennials, even some folks that are older. It is a part of our daily lives, and so I think karaoke has, for whatever reason, been absent from that shift in large part. There are exceptions. So my point is that I think, if I were being tongue-in-cheek, I might say resistance is futile, but that's not really what I mean. What I mean is everything goes mobile, right? Anything that can will. That's just sort of the progress. Now, it doesn't mean that it's good just because.
Right.
But I think if we focus on the patron, we focus on the performer, we focus on the ultimate customer, what do they want?
Sure.
So that's the question. And I think if you look at their adoption of technology as a typical consumer, particularly here in the US and most countries, they are voting with their wallets, they're voting with their downloads, they're voting otherwise to do everything that they can on their phones. And so why wouldn't we progress that way with karaoke? And I think the flip side, however, is, all right, what does that do to the experience? Is everybody just staring at their phones as opposed to staring up at the stage as they should be and engaged with the performers? But I think KaraoQ addresses that as well. The very careful design of the app, the very, I think, non-intrusive focus and the way the app, operates is do your thing, get in, get out, perform. It's not, let me just stare at my phone all night.
Sure.
It's, let me use this terrific application to make the experience even better.
Sure.
So, the point is the industry, music and entertainment industries are adopting mobile at tremendous rates. Users and fans are doing the same thing at immense rates. And so it just makes sense. Add to that the venues will benefit, the KJs will benefit, there's more revenue to be generated, new revenue streams to be generated. I'm bullish, as you can tell. You can't improve what you can't measure, is I think, a rule of thumb. And I think the ability to use KaraoQ as a KJ to measure the performance that you deliver, to measure the performance of the venue that you operate in, be it captive or one that you're a mobile KJ, and ultimately to measure the satisfaction and delight of your patrons or performers can only make you better and can only make you more money.
Well, that's all we have here from the Nashville Entrepreneur Center. We're going to go back to the Knoxville Entrepreneur Center, Digitrax Sonox Studios for Karaoke Summit 15. I think I'm getting ready to come up on stage, so I've got to drive pretty quick. Back to you in Knoxville.